Hi guys. Um, it's cold tonight, so I got my fuzzy warm robe on again. but tonight's video is going to be about divorce. I had someone who contacted me, and she's feeling really, really bad because she's going through getting ready to go through a divorce, and she feels like a total loser. Well, that's very common. I've been through two, believe me. I know the feeling. But no, you're not a loser. Uh, it just wasn't meant to be. And you need to stop and realize that. Don't try to find rhyme and reason for why it happened, who did what wrong, why did it go wrong, all of that stuff that goes through your head. Sometimes the relationship just isn't meant to be. Sometimes two people just fall out of love. Somebody cheats on somebody. Personalities just clash. Things just don't work out. Um, don't beat yourself up. It just isn't. I really believe that if something is meant to be, nothing's going to tear it apart. And she was concerned because she's 53. Well, I'm 57. I'll be 58 in April. And I had a friend of mine tell me I was looking at my being divorced the wrong way. And she says, Lori, look at it this way. People our age, in our 50s, who have been married, for 30, 40 years, how many of them are really happy? How many of them are pretty much sick of each other? They just kind of are existing together. They're just, that type of person or couple. And she's right. I think about some of the couples I see out in public, like at the store or wherever, and they've obviously been married a long time, and they look like they can barely stand each other. They're just kind of there together. You know what I'm talking about. Well, this friend told me, she says, well, think about it this way, Lori. When you meet somebody now, fall in love, and maybe get married again. I don't know if I ever wanted to get married again, but I do want that one guy for the rest of my life. Um, she says, you'll be going through all those wonderful things at this stage of life. Well, everybody else who's been married for a long time is barely standing each other. That made me feel a little better. I started to think, that's true. I will meet this one person who's the right one. That whole falling in love, all that wonderful, giddy girl stuff. I'll be going through that now. And she's right. So many people my age and, middle 50s or so, who have been married a very long time, they're just like coexisting, kind of like a roommate situation. And I'm going to look at it that way. Like the last, since I'm 57, going to be 58 in April, I'm hoping I have at least, 30 years left. My family tends to live into their 80s and some of them their 90s. Um, so yeah, I like knowing that those last years will be with somebody maybe I'm still, very much in love with and have that wonderful feeling with, not someone I'm sick to death of. I've seen that in, I would have to say, the majority. In fact, I can't think of one couple now that's been married like 30, 40 years that is just, with that good lovey feeling. So I say to her, don't feel bad. Don't. I know you feel like it's the end of the world. She said she felt so lost and scared. And yes, you are lost. You are scared. You're breaking a cycle. You're breaking a habit, is what you're doing. And it can be very, very frightening. It can be very scary to think that, everything's going to change. And it is. Everything's going to change. And what's so strange about divorce is even if the marriage was terrible, even if you were as miserable as can be in that marriage, it still is a devastating thing to go through. Even if you're happy to get that divorce because you want that marriage ended, it's still a devastating thing to go through because you're having to change so much in your life. And if there are, children involved, depending on your age, that can be very difficult and scary. But by no means are you a loser or a failure at marriage because it didn't work out. Some people just aren't cut out for marriage. I mean, that's just the bottom line. They're just not cut out for marriage. Um, and that's nothing, I don't say anything against that. There are just some people who marriage just isn't for them. Like me, for instance, I don't know that I ever want to get married again. I don't know that I ever want any man to feel that he has the power of of me hanging around waiting to see if he says, "Will you marry me?" I just don't know that I want that. I think I would prefer to find somebody that we just fall in love and want to be together forever, and that's that. And we stay together forever because no piece of paper will keep you together if it's not meant to be. So that's kind of the way I feel right now. But getting back to her feelings about divorce, um, it's hard. Yes, it's very hard. You're going to go through a lot of emotions. You're going to go through hate, love, crying, laughing, anger, resentment, gladness, sadness, happiness, joy. You're going to go through so many emotions, and it's very normal. You may go through a stage after your divorce where it's just like, oh man, I'm going to be with any man I can be with. A lot of people do that. No biggie. Don't feel bad about it yourself. It's just stages that you have to go through to get through that emotional roller coaster. You do. I know, like now, I've been divorced since 2003, and I definitely know what I will and will not tolerate in a relationship from a man. There's no question now. When I got married, the first time I was only 18, which was so foolish, but I did. And of course, that just didn't work out. He was abusive and he drank, and that was something I don't like. Second marriage, also abusive. My mistakes. I saw the signs before we got married, and that is my mistake for going into it. So I can't blame anybody really but myself for not using my head to say, well, the signs were there, but I was foolish and just ignored them. Um, Not that that gives, a man any excuse to be abusive, but it's my fault for staying in it. So I now know what I will not tolerate. So you need to look at it that way, that whatever you go through, if it's a divorce, you have some lessons to learn. I believe that every person comes in and out of our life for a reason. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes that you talk to them in the store or you know them for the next 20 years. There's a reason that everybody enters our life. And this person that, you're divorcing, uh, it was a lesson of some sort, and you need to figure out what that lesson was. Most likely, teaching you what and what not to put up with in a relationship with a man. That's usually the lesson, Um, and yes, you're going to be lonely. You're going to have times when you're lonely, and you're going to have times when you are so grateful you're not married. Uh, it's kind of that's just kind of the it's a little roller coaster that you go on. There are days when I would give anything to have a wonderful man in my life, and then there are times when I think if there was a man in my life, I'd be like, get the hell out of my sight. I don't want to even see you in the same room. It's just those kind of days. So it has its pluses and its minuses. I mean, everything does. Even when you're married, it has its good and bad sides. And being single, yeah, you're going to go through a lot of changes. You're going to go through a lot of fears. You're going to go through a lot of expectations that might not work out. You're going to have so much, yes, but it's going to affect you only on how you allow yourself. It will affect you in the way of how you allow yourself to react to it all. I have my good days. I have my bad days. There are days I'll talk to my sister. Oh my God, I hate life. Oh, I hate being alone. And my daughter too. And then there are days when I'm just like, oh God, I'm so glad there's nobody around me. This is great. It's just the way it is. Um, there are times when I look at my little dogs and I think, wow, I love my dogs more than I love some people in my life, which is pathetic, but it's true, Um, it's just the way it works. And you're going to find that you'll get through it. It's not the end of the world. I know you feel like it's the end of the world. It is not, people. If you're going through a divorce, it's not the end of the world. I know you're scared. I know you're probably terrified, thinking, oh my God, what's my life going to be like? Maybe you're worried about the financial end of it because now there's going to be only your income. Or maybe you were a stay-at-home wife and now you're having to figure out how to get out there and get in the work world. Believe me, I know. I was a stay-at-home wife for 22 years, but I've managed. And my job right now is I'm a caregiver to the elderly, and I love it. I love helping those people. So you know, and I didn't know what I was going to do before that. I was lost. I was completely lost. I was like, what am I going to do? I certainly didn't want to be stuck behind a desk and a phone. That I knew that would drive me insane because I had done that before. Um, I knew I didn't want to be in retail, that type of stuff. I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm definitely not an office person. It's just forget that. I'd go insane. Um, but I found this. This came upon me because I had to. I offered to take care of my own mother when she had a stroke at my father's funeral actually, and she could no longer take care of herself. So my son and I moved in with her to take care of her until the end. And I realized, this isn't too bad, helping people out, and now I love it. Right now I'm taking care of an elderly couple, and I just adore them, and it's something I like doing. I'm not under somebody's thumb, I'm not having to show up at some office. I don't have some boss criticizing me. I'm kind of the one in control. I'm there to help them and show them better ways to live their life, and I love this. It's something that works for me. You will find your way. Um, Little things happen in life that will guide you to, ask for guidance from the universe or your God or whatever you believe in. Just ask for guidance. Just sit there and guide me, help me to where I need to be, and it will come to you. But don't be so scared. I know you are. I know that that period is going to come when you're very frightened, and that's natural. You're going to cry, you're going to get depressed, you're going to be up, you're going to be down. That's very normal. And I want you to know you'll get through it. You will get through it. It doesn't seem like you will. And there are times, all of you out there, anybody who's going through a divorce or just got through, got a divorce, you feel lost, you feel scared, and you feel like nobody's ever going to love you again. You feel like they'll never find somebody. Some people are content not to find anybody again. They just want to date, enjoy the person, go home and be without them. And then there are those who they definitely want to get married again. Well, you just put whatever vibes you want out there, okay? I was in turmoil for a very long time. Just the thought of getting involved with somebody serious after a few experiences was like, I can't even stand the thought of it. And it took me years, a few years, to come around to where I realized um, there are still good guys out there. And I will find that good guy. I just now know what I will and will not take that I didn't right after my divorce. I put up with some idiots after I got divorced, let me tell you. Total idiots that I dated. And ironically, uh, the majority of men I dated were very wealthy. Some of them were millionaires. And they turned out to be not because they're millionaires or because they were very wealthy that they were just jerks, but somehow the ones I got involved with were just not my cup of tea, shall we say. Um, Attorneys and, all those kind of people. But that just happened to be the situation. Of course, not all attorneys or doctors or real estate magnates. They're not all the same. But just know you're going to get through it. When you need to cry, cry, but don't let yourself go overboard with the crying, because then you can spiral into a, you know, total dark, deep hole of depression. So get your tears out, cry, get your emotions out, talk to people who are willing to truly listen to you and help you, not criticize you and try to tell you what to do and how to feel. Talk to somebody who can help you with those emotions and help you come out of it as well. Don't get offended if somebody actually comes up to you, say a certain amount of time passes, and you're still in kind of a depressed mode. Don't be surprised if somebody comes up to you and says, look, you've been down for too long. You need to snap out of this. You're not fun anymore. You're not enjoyable anymore. Don't get offended. That person is trying to actually make you aware that you're in this little rut of depression and sadness, and it's not doing you any good, and it's not doing the people around you any good. So, don't be offended if somebody, I mean, obviously, if they're cruel, like, hey, you bitch, man, you've been nothing but a freaking bitch. Well, obviously, that's not what I'm talking about. But if you have a good friend or a relative or somebody who loves and cares about you and they say, man, you've been down too long, you got to come out of this. Every time I'm around you, all you do is cry and get depressed. It's just a sign that another step, something is being sent to you to help you to change. And, oh, got an itch. There's a reason for that being said to you to help you start moving along. Um, but just know that yeah, it's scary, and you will have your times when you don't know what to do. You're going to feel very lost because, you know, a person becomes a habit. No matter, even if they're bad, even if they treat you bad, even if you're unhappy in that marriage, they become a habit. And breaking any habit is difficult. And you get used to them being there, depending on the type of your relationship. Like for me, he would go to the store with me all the time. He'd go shopping with me. We'd go do this. We'd go do that. You know, just your everyday things, he would always get involved with it. You know, going to the doctor's appointments for the kids, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, it was topped off with beatings. You know, so obviously that didn't work. Um, he used to beat me, you know, very severely. I got hurt very, very badly in that marriage, physically, emotionally, mentally, very badly. And I'm very grateful I got out of it when I did. And you will too. Well, there's going to come a day when you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I stayed in that marriage as long as I did. I wish I'd have done this sooner, blah, blah, blah. So I want you to know when you're feeling down and out, it's okay. It's normal to just cry your eyes out some nights. You're going to have memories. Uh, the restaurants you went to, the stores you went to, just driving down a street will bring a memory to you that will make you cry. And that's normal. That's okay. That's part of the process. There was a time there after my divorce, I could not walk into any store that we had been to. All the memories just would rush my brain of the situation, if we were with the kids, if it was just us, what we were buying. There, literally, I could not walk into certain stores. I couldn't even go to a movie theater. It was a tough transition. And then all of a sudden, you know, like one day said, that's it, I'm done. I want to get back to life. Forced myself to go into those stores, forced myself to go into the places that we used to go. And now there's no emotion attached to it. Yes, there will always be the memories, there's no doubt. But how you handle those memories is what will get you through. Now, there are times I can be in a store and yeah, a little flash will come through and I just push it out. Like, oh, well, that's long gone. It's over. And that's what you learn to do after a while. You push those memories out quickly. You'll learn if you teach yourself. Now, if you fall into it and just let yourself keep, oh my God, I can't believe we were in Macy's together and now I'm all alone. You know, if you keep doing that, of course you're not going to come out of it. You have to one day just say, well, I remember when he and I were in Macy's and well, that's not the way it is. Now it's me, and I'm going to enjoy what's there. You know, that's what you have to do. And it sounds simple. It's not. It takes practice. It takes work. It takes strength. It really does take strength to do all this. So ask your higher power to give you that strength. Ask yourself. You are your own God. My belief is you are your own God. You are your own power, your own source, your own strength. Ask yourself to say, I need my strength. Give me my strength, you know, to get through this, and you will. Um, and given the, I don't know the circumstances of this divorce from this, you know, this girl that she's going, this woman that she's going through, and obviously, if you're divorcing somebody who endangers your life or whatever, obviously you may have to make changes that are really drastic. You may have to leave the city, leave the state. Who knows? You know, depending on the situation, go to a shelter. Who knows? Until you're safely out of the entire situation. But whatever the situation, it's a huge transition, and don't beat yourself up. And she was telling me that she feels like a loser because you know all their friends that they had as couples, they're still all married, this and that. So what? You don't know if they're happy. They could be like so many couples who stay together for life, and they can barely stand each other. I mean, literally barely stand each other. You don't know. A lot of couples can put on a very good front where you think they're the happiest couple in the world, and behind closed doors, they are as miserable as all get out, just living together like roommates. So don't let that upset you. You don't know, and maybe they just were meant to be together. You're meant to find somebody else at this stage of your life. You're meant to find another path. You're meant to learn something. There's an experience you're supposed to be learning. Mine was, I had never been alone. I got married at 18, so I went from my parents' home to my new husband's home. Was married for 3 years, got divorced, but I had a child. So I never knew what it was to be alone in my entire life until I got divorced in 2003. I was either at home, I was either married or with a child, but never alone. And so this experience now, this is the first time I moved into this house. Like I said before in my videos, I'm living in the house of a woman that I used to take care of. She was an elderly woman that I took care of, and she passed on, and I'm staying in this house temporarily. And this is the first time I've ever lived alone, and this just started in April. So this has been a huge transition to be 57 and living alone for the very first time. I either had a parent, a husband, or children in my life. And since my youngest child moved away to Canada a little over a year and a half ago, after that I had lived with some other family and some people. Now I'm alone. And so this experience has been a very spiritual, soulful, emotional growth period for me, which I got to be honest with you, I'm very grateful for. I hadn't realized how dependent I had become on someone else always being in my life. Being married so young, first 18 and then in my 20s, I never knew what it was to just be me, just my life. And I'm very grateful for this experience in a lot of ways. It has its tough times where, yes, it can be lonely, but it also has its great times where I think, I don't have to tolerate anything from anybody at all. Nothing. Zero. And sometimes that's the best feeling in the world. So this has been an experience for me, and it will be for you too. You'll find out that you're going to start finding things out about yourself that maybe you forgot, because sometimes you lose yourself in a marriage. I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called The Banger Sisters with Goldie Hawn and Susan Sarandon. It is one of the best movies. I love that movie. And it's true, you can lose yourself in a marriage. You can lose yourself to your family. You forget who you are. You're either mother, wife, mother and wife, mother, wife, working. You're all that. You've never had the time to just be you. Well, this person, her kids are grown and gone. You're going to find out. At first, it's frightening. It can be lonely. It's confusing. You get down. You can get really down. But you're going to find that if you start finding little things to do with your time, like I just went into a shop today. It's a metaphysical shop. I went into it for the first time. It's right near where I live. And the people there were wonderful. There were two women there working, and they were just wonderful. And right before I walked out the door, she says, you need to come to one of our workshops. You just donate however much you can afford. Come this Saturday night. And she kind of winked and she goes, you'll never know who you're going to meet there. And she says, so come on by, which I'm going to do. And it's interesting, things start happening in your life. Little things start occurring to propel you to the next phase of your life, to the next step that you're supposed to go to. And I had no intention of going to that store today. I passed by it almost every day. Every day, I almost for about the last year, I have passed by this little metaphysical store, and I always wondered, I wonder what it's like. And today, something just said, go there. So I got ready and I went, and it turned out to be a wonderful experience, and the people were really kind. And I'm going to start going to their little workshops, and I just loved the way she said, you never know who you're going to meet there, so please come this Saturday. So I said, all right, so I'm going to go. So you see, little things happen to kind of come in. If you ask for the guidance, if you ask for the help, it will happen. I promise you. Believe that things are going to come to guide you in the direction you're supposed to go. If you sit around thinking how miserable life is, how sad it is, which you're going to do occasionally, you're human, but don't make that your main focus. If you sit around doing that, that's all you're going to keep attracting. So start thinking about, oh, I can't wait for something new to happen in my life. I can't wait for the next step. I'm eager for what's to come. I can't wait to see what good things are coming my way. Start thinking that, even if things aren't happening that way in reality, just kind of start feeling that way. And you'll see things are going to come up that propel you to the next place you're supposed to be. Just sit there and say, I'm right where I'm supposed to be and eager for what's to come, and believe it. Today, I was really down. This was one of those days I was down. My daughter and her family are going to California for the week, and I get a little worried. I'm one of those worry wart moms, and I was kind of down. I was like, oh my gosh, I was really blue today. And then out of the blue, just something just said, you need to go to that little shop you always pass. And so I did, and it turned out great, guys. So there's so many little things that will come up in your life if you think for think the positive thoughts, and you'll get through. I promise you. If you need to cry, find a good friend or a relative or whoever that you feel comfortable with. Let your cries out. It's going to happen. You're going to feel lost and lonely, and that's normal. And don't feel bad about it. You're not a loser. You're far from a loser. You are the one who initiated this divorce, and you are going to find yourself to be very proud of yourself for getting out of a marriage that you were not happy in. Whereas there are so many that will stay in it just for the sake of staying in it because they feel it's their duty to stay in a marriage. You need to be proud of yourself that you're breaking that little cycle and rut, and you're finding something better for yourself. You deserve it. You deserve to be happy, not just be married. The two don't always go together, and you need to be proud of yourself. So anybody who's going through a divorce or is divorced and you're going through all these emotions, you're going to get through it. Just count on knowing, yes, there will be scary times. Yes, there will be lonely times. Yes, there will be confusing times, and there will be times when you feel like you're lost and a loser. It's normal, but you're not. You're just going into the next phase of life that for whatever reason, I believe everything happens for a reason. You were not supposed to stay in that marriage or relationship. Well, let's say it's not a divorce. Let's say you just broke up with somebody you've lived with for 10 years. It's the same as a divorce. Um, you were supposed to leave that situation. That's my firm belief. And it's because you're supposed to be doing something else in your life, and you couldn't do it if you were in that situation. So find the positive, guys. It's there, and there's a reason why it's all happening. And I wish you the best of luck. You will get through this. Give yourself the courage. Look at yourself in the mirror. Be proud of yourself. Make yourself look your best. It always makes you feel better. Don't let yourself, your health, and your weight, and everything else, your looks, go to hell. That's not going to make you feel good at all. It's going to make you feel worse. You take care of yourself. Be proud of who you are for you, nobody else, for you. So remember that. It's just the word divorce is just another word for the relationship ended, which happens every day to tons of people. You're just another one of them, but it's happening for a reason. You have another place to go. There's something else out there waiting for you. So get on with it. Think positive. Believe in yourself, and it will all work out. I promise you. So we shall talk to you later, everybody. And if you're going through divorce, separation, relationship breakup, you're going to get through. I promise you. You're going to get through. You'll be able to see clearly, and everything will work itself out the way it's supposed to if you just believe in yourself that all will go well. You got to believe it. So we shall talk to you all later, guys, and start your day tomorrow knowing that whatever you're going through, this divorce, um, there's a reason. You don't know it. You may not know what it is. Don't question it. Don't sit there, oh my God, why? Just say, I'm eager for what's to come because there's something coming. That's why this is happening. So love you all. I will talk to you later. I'm going to go get some hot tea and get relaxed for the evening. So I will talk to you later. Bye-bye, guys.